Welcome guys. Today in this lecture, we'll be talking about the histology of the cartilage. We'll be detailing talking about the hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage and the fibrous cartilage. And in that we'll be talking about, first we'll start with the basics of the cartilage. We'll understand what is cartilage. After that, we're gonna talk about something like the general framework of the cartilage. To understand each and every cartilage, like the hyaline or the elastic or the fibrous cartilage, first we need to have an idea about the general framework, how exactly the cartilages are there. Now after that we'll detailedly talk about the hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, fibrous cartilage, and of course our clinical anatomy. At the end we'll talk about the recall questions as well, to recall whatever we studied there. Now to start with the basics of cartilage, first you need to remember the cartilages are nothing but your specialized connective tissue. Now, what do you mean by specialized connective tissue, guys? You have connective tissue which is acting as a filling material in between the rest of these important tissues. Now, these specialized connective tissues are of three types, right? There are three specialized connective tissue. One is your bone, another one is your blood, another one is your cartilage, right? These are the main specialized connective tissue. So understand this one, that the cartilage is a specialized connective tissue. Now, we have three types of specialized connective tissue, that is your cartilages, right? We have three types of cartilages. First is your hyaline cartilage, the other is your elastic cartilage, the one more is your fibrous cartilage. We'll talk about it in detail, but before going to that, I would want you to remember what are the examples of these particular cartilages. Now, remember guys, elastic cartilage, it is actually, elastic. I mean, if you just bend it, it's gonna bend it in that way itself. Now, for that matter, you can remember this particular example, your ear pinna, or we call it as auricle, right? In there also we'll be having elastic cartilage. Apart from that, in elastic cartilage, even in your eustachian tube, in the laryngeal cartilages, as well as in the epiglottis, most of your laryngeal cartilages are your elastic cartilage, guy. But few of your laryngeal cartilages, like your thyroid and the cricoid, are belonging to which category? Your hyaline category, right? Apart from those two things, we have our ribs. I mean the costal cartilages, right? You will be having your sternum over here, and you will be having your ribs here. Between the sternum and the ribs there is a connection. That connection is actually by your cartilage. Now which cartilage it is? It is your hyaline cartilage, right? The hyaline cartilage is acting as a connection between your ribs and the sternum. And the nasal septum, in the ala of the nose, all these things are your hyaline cartilage. And the tracheal rings, right, the trachea will be having the C-shaped rings. Those C-shaped rings are also a part of hyaline cartilage. Basically the rings are nothing but your cartilage, and that cartilage is which type? That is your hyaline type. Now apart from that, you need to be talking about the fibrous cartilage as well. What are the examples for the fibrous cartilage, guys? You will be having your pubis symphysis, then your intervertebral disc. What are these intervertebral discs, guys? You will be having one vertebra over here, the another vertebra here. Between two vertebrae you will be having a cartilage. That cartilage is your intervertebral disc, right? Intervertebral disc. Now which type of cartilage does this intervertebral disc belong to? That is your fibrous cartilage, right? Fibrous cartilage. The intervertebral disc belongs to fibrous cartilage. Now apart from that, you will be having your glenoid labrum in your shoulder joint, then the menisci in your knee joint, and in the hip joint labrum there is an acetabulum around which it is covered, that is also your fibrous cartilage. And there is a tendon attachment sites. Wherever these tendons are going to attach, at that point of attachment you will be having your fibrous cartilage. Now please remember these examples, guys, because they will be asked as MCQs. Now after knowing about the examples, I would want you guys to have this particular idea about what is the general framework of the cartilage. Now if I say this particular thing over here is a cartilage, now what and all the things should be there to say it as a cartilage? Now whatever the tissue in our body, even the cartilage is also a tissue, right? That will be having its own cells, right? It will be having the cells, yes. And these cells, particularly in the cartilages, we call these cells they have been named as chondrocytes. Now what are those cells which are present in your cartilage, guys? They are called as chondrocytes. Now remember this particular thing over here, observe this. Now you have chondrocytes, right? In between the chondrocytes, you have got a certain space over here, right? All this space between the each of your chondrocytes. That space is called as, what is this space called as? This space is called as interstitial space, right? Interstitial space. Now this interstitial space is not just a space, it's actually filled with extracellular matrix. What is it filled with? It's filled with extracellular matrix. Apart from that, this cartilage is also covered, right? The entire cartilage is also covered. That covering of a cartilage is called as what? Perichondrium. What is that covering called as, guys? Perichondrium. Now, whenever I say perichondrium, you need to be thinking that it is entirely covering what? Cartilages. Now, whenever I say chondrocytes, what are chondrocytes? Chondrocytes are the cells of your cartilage. They are the basic unit of your cartilage, right? Then, apart from that, what do I mean by extracellular matrix? This extracellular matrix is some substance which is actually filling the space which is in between the two chondrocytes, or let's say the cluster of chondrocytes. Now we'll just look at over here, guys. That's what I said. The cartilage will be basically having what? Cells. These cells are called as what? Your chondrocytes. Chondrocytes. In between the cells, you will be having a space, and that space is actually filled with what? Extracellular matrix. Now, also told you that there is a covering of this cartilage as well. That covering is called as perichondrium. This perichondrium will be divided into two things, guys. One is your outer layer of the perichondrium, outer layer, and another one is your inner layer of the perichondrium. So basically that entire covering is there. That covering will be having two layers. That covering itself is divided into two layers. One is outer layer, another is in the inner layer. This outer layer of the covering, in the outer perichondrium, outer layer of the perichondrium is actually fibrous. Fibers, what do I mean by fibers, guys? It will be just filled with the fibers, right? Now, the inner layer is actually filled with the cells. That is why we call it as the inner layer is a cellular layer. Outer fibrous layer, inner cellular layer. All these two layers are part of what? Your perichondrium only. That's what I said. Perichondrium is divided into outer layer and inner layer. We can call it as outer fibrous layer and inner cellular layer. Please remember all these things. When we draw our diagrams, it will be very easy for us to draw all those hyaline cartilage diagrams in a very easy manner, right? Now please remember, guys, one more thing about these chondrocytes. Chondrocytes, whatever the chondrocyte that you will say, they are located in a lacunae. Now, what do I mean by lacunae, guys? Lacunae is nothing but it is a space. Now, what I'm talking about you is, like, this is one chondrocyte and this is one chondrocyte, and I told you there will be an extracellular matrix over here, right? The extracellular matrix. And remember, guys, and look at over here as well. This extracellular matrix is actually surrounding these cells, but it is leaving some space around the cell, right? It's leaving some space around the cell. This is actually the space which is left out. Right, this entire space is there, that is actually left out. That space is called as what? Your lacunae. So basically I can say that the chondrocytes are located where? They are located in the lacunae. What are lacunae? Lacunae are nothing but a spaces. Around this lacunar space, around this lacunae itself, you will be having your extracellular matrix, right? Now, after that you need to think, I just want to tell you that the chondrocytes will be oval in shape, right? And they are present in the lacunae. Apart from that, you need to be talking about what are the fibers that are present, guys. Please remember, guys, the fibers that are present in your extracellular matrix depends upon the type of cartilage. Now, the fibers that are present in your hyaline cartilage is different from the elastic cartilage, from the fibrous cartilage. I'll tell you this, that hyaline cartilage will be majority of your extracellular matrix will be containing the fibrous tissue. These fibers, like you will be having a collagen fibers, keratin fibers, elastic fibers. Out of these things, you need to specifically tell which type of fiber is present in this extracellular matrix of this cartilage. Now, in the hyaline cartilage, you will be having collagen fibers. Majority of the collagen fibers. Which type of the collagen fibers, guys? That is your type 2 collagen fibers. Please remember this. Then the elastic fibers, the elastic cartilage, you will be having what type of fibers? You will be having your elastic fibers. Elastic fibers. Now in the fibrous cartilage, you will be having a collagen fibers again. Collagen fibers of which type, guys? Now it is type 1 of collagen fibers. Now apart from that, you will be having one more filling stuff between this fibers tissue. Please remember, guys, this ground substance will be having your chondroitin sulfate, keratin sulfate, and your water molecules as well. Now, what are these chondroitin sulfate and keratin sulfate? You will be you will be studying this extensively detail in your biochemistry. For now, you remember there will be chondroitin sulfate, keratin sulfate. These are nothing but some of the molecules which are present in your ground substance, as well as your water molecules. Please remember this water because it's very important to study your osteoarthritis case. Now look at this diagram over here, guys. You will be seeing this fibrous layer, right? This is your fibrous perichondrium. And you can see the cellular layer over here, right? There is a layer of cells which is actually forming what? A covering kind of thing, right? This is all your cellular layer. What is that? That is your cellular perichondrium, right? Cellular perichondrium. That's what I told. And I told you that you will be having a cells of this particular cartilage. Now, whatever the cartilage it has, it will be having what? Chondrocytes. What are chondrocytes, guys? These are the basic cells that are present in your cartilage. These are your chondrocytes. And I told you chondrocytes, around these chondrocytes, you will be having this space, right? Whatever the space you are looking at, all this space is your what? extracellular space. All this space is your extracellular space, which is actually filled by what? Which is filled by your extracellular matrix, right? Extracellular matrix. It is filling your extracellular space. Now again the same thing here also, there is a covering. Covering is nothing but your perichondrium, which is divided into fibrous and cellular perichondrium. That's what you saw here. Now, after discussing the general framework of these cartilages, now we are ready to talk about the hyaline cartilage specifically. Now, please remember, guys, hyaline cartilage will be having its perichondrium, right? I told you. Everything what we studied, we'll just compile everything over here. That's all. Hyaline cartilage will be having perichondrium. It will be having two layers of the perichondrium. The same thing, your fibrous perichondrium and your cellular perichondrium, right? Outer fibrous and inner cellular. Now, after the perichondrium, what you need to talk about? You need to talk about the chondrocytes, right? Chondrocytes. These chondrocytes in the hyaline cartilage, they are actually what? They are actually oval in shape, right? Oval in shape. And remember, and look at over here itself, guys. Can you observe these chondrocytes? One chondrocyte, second, third, and fourth. All these things are actually located in a nest. I mean, what I'm saying is actually they are located in a nest. Nest means they are, they are actually present in clusters. They are present in a group. And that is why we call them as these chondrocytes. They are present in what? They are forming cell nests. That much about the chondrocytes of this particular thing, guys. Apart from that, you need to talk about the extracellular matrix which is present there. I already told you in the hyaline cartilage it will be having what? Collagen type 2, right? Apart from that, what you will have? You will be having your chondroitin sulfate, keratin sulfate, everything, and water as well. Now please remember, guys, this collagen fibers which is present over here, this collagen fibers is actually regularly arranged. What do I mean by regularly arranged? These collagen fibers are actually arranged in a proper manner. They're not haphazardly arranged. They are not actually haphazardly arranged. They're actually arranged in a proper manner. And that is what it will give this hyaline cartilage. Whatever this hyaline cartilage, its matrix will be homogeneous. Now, what is the reason for homogeneous? Homogeneity is because of regular arrangement of collagen fibers, and that is what you are seeing over here, guys. Can you observe any fibers over here? No, you cannot see the fibers when you look at the histology specimen of this particular hyaline cartilage. Why? Because all your collagen fibers are exactly arranged properly in a homogeneous manner. That is why you will only see the matrix as a as a paste kind of thing, right? Now, this homogeneity and your extracellular matrix will be having what, guys? Basophilic. Remember this particular fact over here. In the hyaline cartilage, all your extracellular matrix will be having, guys, you will be showing your basophilic matrix, right? Can you see this blue color thing? That is what your basophilicness. Now it is contraindicated. I mean, it is actually a exact contrary when you see your elastic cartilage, because in elastic cartilage it will be eosinophilic. That is why. Now we're going to draw our own diagram over here, guys. I told you that the covering will be there. That is your fibrous perichondrium. We'll use the exact H&D staining what you have to draw. This is your fibrous perichondrium, outer layer fibrous perichondrium. Then you will be having inner cellular perichondrium as well, right? These are the cellular perichondrium, and in that you will be having your what? Matrix, right? Hyaline cartilage will be having your matrix, and that matrix I told you it will be what? Basophilic in nature. Yes, right? That's your basophilic matrix. Now this basophilic matrix, in that basophilic matrix you will be having the cells which are embedded, and these cells are present in what? Present in the groups, or let's say the clusters, present in the clusters to form what? Cellular nests. Remember one more thing about this extracellular matrix of the hyaline cartilage, guys. What do I mean by that? This extracellular matrix around your cellular nest, it will get thickened, right? It will get thickened to form a specialized matrix. I mean, it is nothing but the whole extracellular matrix is actually getting thickened around your cells, around your cellular nests, to form an important thing. That thickening is called as what? Thickening is called as territorial matrix. Territorial matrix, right? And whatever the matrix that is present outside the territory, I mean whatever this matrix that is present over here, right? All your matrix, this particular matrix, that entire matrix is called as the extra, whatever that is left out apart from the territorial matrix is called as extraterritorial or interterritorial matrix. Now that was all, guys. You need to be talking about the nucleus as well. Just draw this one. Now that was about the hyaline cartilage, guys. Now we'll go to the elastic cartilage. Can you observe this diagram over here? Again, you will have your perichondrium which is present over here. This outer fibrous perichondrium, and then you have inner cellular perichondrium. Apart from that, can you observe this main important thing about the elastic cartilage? These cells are arranged single. They're not present in the clusters. Even here also they might be appearing to be in a clusters, but they are not actually in the cluster. They will be present single, right? You can observe here as well, here, everywhere. These cells are arranged in a single manner. Like they are not arranged in a groups, or they are not arranged in clusters, or they're not forming any territories there. That's the main peculiar thing about the elastic cartilage. Apart from that, can you observe the matrix over here, guys? This matrix is not basophilic. It's actually what? Eosinophilic matrix. Now that was all about the elastic cartilage. We'll write it down everything over here. It will be having perichondrium. Yes, perichondrium is present, and that perichondrium is what? Perichondrium is present. And that perichondrium is actually divided into outer fibrous perichondrium and your inner cellular perichondrium, right? Then you will have your chondrocytes. These chondrocytes are what? They are oval in shape, as well as they are arranged in a single manner, right? Single, we can say, right? They are arranged in a single manner. Then apart from that, the matrix that you see, it's actually filled with elastic fibers, right? I told you elastic fibers will be there. They're not your collagen fibers, they are your elastic fibers. Apart from that, it's eosinophilic. Whenever you look at this particular histology slide, you need to be identifying this as what? Elastic cartilage. Now we'll draw our own diagram for this elastic cartilage. What I told you, you'll be having what? Perichondrium. This is your outer fibrous perichondrium, and you'll be having inner cellular perichondrium. Right? These are what? These are your inner cellular perichondrium. Then I told you need to be talking about the reticular fibers. I'm telling you what are reticular fibers. I told you what type of fibers present in your matrix of your elastic cartilage. That fibers are your elastic fibers. Now remember, these elastic fibers are actually arranged in a network form. Like these are your elastic fibers which are arranged in a network form. Whenever there is a network, we can also name it as one more word. That name is your reticular fibers. Reticular is nothing but a network forming fibers. That is why these elastic fibers are also called as reticular fibers. They will be forming this kind of reticular meshwork, or let's say the network of these fibers, right? Now in these networks only you will be having a single arranged your elastic cartilage cells. That's your chondrocytes, right? These are what your chondrocytes of your elastic cartilage, and this is your outer fibrous perichondrium, this is your inner cellular perichondrium. And what are these fibers, guys? These are your elastic fibers forming reticular network, and that is why we call them as reticular fibers as well. Please remember this one. Now after studying about the elastic cartilage, we'll now shift our focus on to something like the fibrous cartilage, guys. In the fibrous cartilage, we'll be talking about specifically on the white fibrous cartilage. Now one most important fact about this white fibrous or the fibrous cartilage is that the perichondrium will be absent. Please remember this, guys. Perichondrium is absent. Now can you see perichondrium over here? No, you cannot see. And one more important thing is that you'll be having your collagen fibers, right? I told you that matrix is filled with collagen fibers. These collagen fibers are your type 1 collagen fibers. These collagen fibers are actually arranged how? They are arranged in bundles, right? They are arranged in what? They are arranged in bundles. Can you see these collagen fibers? They are running in bundles. All these collagen fibers, guys. Can you look at these collagen fibers? All these collagen fibers are going in a bundle manner. And these collagen fibers are going in bundles. Between the bundles, you can observe what? Your cells, right? Your cells. That those cells are what we call them as? They are chondrocytes, right? Now, you will talk about this one over here. These chondrocytes, how these chondrocytes are present? Chondrocytes are present in cords. What do I mean by cords? Cords means this. If I talk about this one as a chondrocyte, these chondrocytes are actually arranged in this manner. Now, where exactly they are located? They are located in between bundles of collagen fibers. That's what you saw over here, guys. These are your bundles of collagen fibers. This particular thing is your one bundle, and this is another bundle. Between those two bundles, you have some space, and there you have what? Your chondrocytes, which are arranged in cords, right? That was about the white fibrous cartilage. We'll draw our own diagrams. I told you that these will be having the bundles of collagen fibers, and perichondrium will be present or absent. Here in this particular cartilage, the perichondrium is not there. Please remember this. And I told you there will be bundles of collagen fibers. You cannot, just draw it like this. Just like that, right? And in the bundles only, you will be having what? You will be having your chondrocytes. They are arranged in what? They are arranged in cord like manner, right? What is this, guys? These are your bundles of collagen fibers, right? Collagen fibers. You can mention over here itself that they are your type 1 collagen. Apart from that, you will be saying cells which are between these bundles, they are called as chondrocytes, right? Chondrocytes, in how they are arranged? Chondrocytes are arranged in your cords, right? That's what. Now we'll have a comparison table between the hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, and the fibrous cartilage, because we individually studied all these cartilages separately, and we'll now talk about in a very cumulative way. Now I told you in a hyaline cartilage the matrix will be homogeneous. Why the matrix will be homogeneous? Because I told you the collagen fibers which are there in the extracellular matrix, they are actually arranged in a proper manner. They are arranged in a homogeneous manner, and that is why it is homogeneous, as well as it is bluish. That means it is basophilic. Please remember these facts, guys. In the elastic cartilage, I told you will be having elastic fibers, and these elastic fibers will be forming what? They will be forming your network. That is why this is called as reticular fibers as well. Apart from that, and it will be having what? Eosinophilic matrix. Then coming to the fibrous cartilage, there is no glassy matrix, but there will be what? Thick bundles of collagen fibers, right? I told you what type of collagen. They will be type 1 collagen, and they will be going in a bundles of collagen fibers. In between one bundle and two bundle, you will be having a cells which are arranged in a cord like manner. Now, what type of fibers in hyaline cartilage? Will be having type 2 collagen. In the elastic cartilage, majority will be having your elastic fibers. In the white fibrous cartilage, you will be having what? Thick collagen fibers. That is your type 1 collagen fibers. These are all the MCQs, guys. Please remember this. The chondrocytes will be round in oval, and they are present in your lacunae. Most importantly, in hyaline cartilage, they will be present in groups. I told you, right? They will be present in groups and forming the territories. Now, here in this one, they are arranged singly or in isogenous groups. Like sometimes they will be arranged in a groups, or most commonly these your chondrocytes of your elastic cartilage will be arranged your single manner, right? And apart from that, they will be in a fibrous cartilage, these chondrocytes, they will be arranged in a cords, like, or in the rows. That's what I told you, right? These bundles of fibers, between the bundles of fibers, they will be arranged in a rows, or let's say cord like manner. Now the perichondrium, very important point, perichondrium will be present. Perichondrium is nothing but your covering, and this covering is present in your hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, but not present in your fibrous cartilage. That's what here, present and absent, right? And location you already know, we already showed everything there, like where what are the sites that has these particular cartilages. And apart from that, the function you need to remember that the hyaline cartilage is actually meaning, giving it as a growth plate. Now what happens is during the development of the bones, embryologically, whenever the bones has to develop, it needs one framework. Let's say it needs a map to develop into a bone. Let's say there will be a cartilage like this, and that cartilage will be hyaline cartilage, into which you will add lot of calcium and other inorganic salts, and that will make your bone. So first you need an cartilaginous framework into which you will fill all your salts, like your calcium and all, and that will make your bone. That particular process is called as ossification. For to make an ossification, like to make a bone, that is a process is your ossification to happen, like something like, I'm telling you that if there is ossification should be happening, that means you need a one framework, that is your cartilaginous framework, and that cartilaginous framework is your hyaline cartilage, which will be ultimately forming into bones, right? All your bones in your body are actually ossified in this manner itself. Now for the elastic cartilage, it's actually maintaining the flexibility. And what about your fibrous cartilage, guys? Fibrous cartilage is going to give the strong support. Especially I told you, right, you will be having your intervertebral disc, that between the two vertebrae you will be having intervertebral disc, which is nothing but for fibrous cartilage, and it's actually giving a strong support, or let's say there is absorbing as a shock absorber, right? It's functioning as a shock absorber between these two vertebrae whenever you will be sitting or you will be bending forward and all those conditions. The most important part of our lecture, that is your clinical anatomy part. Now you need to remember two conditions, guys. First is your osteoarthritis. After learning all this cartilage, what is the importance of learning? That is what is your osteoarthritis. I mean, the cartilage is going to be degenerating. That's what I said, right? The cartilage is there, no? That cartilage will be degenerating. That condition is called as osteoarthritis. Why? Because sometimes there will be a loss of hydration. I told you, right? The extracellular matrix will be containing your water, and if there is not much of water, or there is any other, there are a lot of causes for this osteoarthritis, but most important and one of the factor about this one is your loss of hydration in this extracellular matrix, that will lead to the degeneration of the cartilages, and that condition is called as osteoarthritis. Apart from osteoarthritis, you need to be thinking about one more important clinical condition, that is your intervertebral disc prolapse. I told you that if this is one vertebrae, let's say the lumbar vertebrae, and this is one vertebrae, and between these two vertebrae you will have a cartilage, right? That cartilage is given a name, that is your intervertebral disc. Intervertebral means between the two vertebrae you will have one disc, that is called as intervertebral disc. In that disc is actually, that is your cartilage. And which type of cartilage it is? That cartilage is your, is it a highly cartilage or elastic or fibrous cartilage? Remember, that is your fibrous cartilage. Okay, now what happens is, if there is an unduly pressure, which is going to be like, pressing this particular vertebrae like anything, there is a lot of pressure in it, or if there is a prolonged sitting posture, and all those conditions, what happens is the disc is going to be prolapsing. Now, what do I mean by disc prolapse? This intervertebral disc is there, that's actually going to come out like this. And what happens in that condition? There will be spinal nerves over here, because we are talking about the vertebrae. In the vertebrae, we'll be having vertebral canals. In that, we'll be having a spinal cord. From the spinal cord, there will be a lot of nerve roots that are coming out. And these nerve roots get what? Compressed. Right. That's the main clinical importance of this, because whenever there is an intervertebral disc, which type of cartilage is going to be involved? That is your fibrocartilage, right? Now, most important part of a lecture, that is our recall questions. Now, whatever we studied, we'll just revise through these particular questions, guys. You need to be knowing the basic features and the functions of the cartilage. I told you cartilage is a specialized connective tissue, and we divided everything into hyaline cartilage, elastic, and the fibrous cartilage, right? And I also told you that what is the importance of the cartilage. We also discussed about the examples of the cartilage, like examples of hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, and the examples of fibrous cartilage. Most important example is your intervertebral disc for your fibrous cartilage, right? Then we talk about the general framework, like we have the chondrocytes, we have extracellular matrix, we have perichondrium as well, all those things. Then describe the histology of hyaline cartilage. You know how to describe this. You just have to practice drawing the diagrams, and through the diagrams only you practice the theory knowledge as well. Drawing diagrams will make you to crack your practical exams as well. It will be helpful for you to crack your theory exams as well, guys. And most importantly, drawing the diagrams will give you the skill which will help you to remember the theory knowledge as well, right? The elastic cartilage and the fibrous cartilage, you just go through it again and revise it properly, and mention the clinical importance of the cartilage. We talked about one osteoarthritis, another one is about disc prolapse. Now we'll come to one more MCQ, guys. Try to solve these MCQs. What this MCQ is telling you is that 45-year-old man is there, and he is complaining of the lower back pain, which is radiating to the posterior aspect of the leg. And there is an MRI show that what is MRI showing? It's showing the prolapse of the intervertebral disc. Okay. Now compressing the spinal nerve roots, we'll leave it there. Now they are asking which type of cartilage is primarily involved in this particular condition. The options are your hyaline cartilage, elastic, fibrous, and calcified cartilage. We don't know about calcified cartilage, just for the sake of the option making, they have done this. But anyhow, which cartilage is actually this intervertebral disc? I told you intervertebral disc is nothing but between the two vertebrae you will be having one disc, and that cartilage is nothing but your intervertebral disc, right? And that cartilage is your, I told you which type of cartilage it is. It's actually your fibrous cartilage, right? That's the answer, right? The fibrous cartilage is involved in the intervertebral disc prolapse. Now that was all about the histology of the cartilage, guys. Hope you enjoyed the learning, and we'll meet in the next lecture. Thank you so much for watching.